Hi everyone. Welcome to Dev Bytes, the show where we dive deep into technologies that are shaping our digital world. I'm your host today, Romesh, and today we are exploring a challenge that affects businesses, freelancers, and consumers worldwide, and that is cross-border payments. Basically, in an increasingly connected global economy, the ability to send and receive money internationally remains surprisingly archaic. Like the entire banking system is behind legacy banking systems, multiple intermediaries, and a lot of hurdles to are continuously there to make the international transfers really slow, expensive, and very opaque. Today we are excited to have Vipul, CTO and co-founder of Qore, a company building digital financial infrastructure to solve these exact pain points. Vipul brings a wealth of experience from his journey and as a developer to becoming a tech leader in fintech space. Vipul, thanks a lot for joining us on Dev Bytes today.
Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you for having me.
Vipul, to start off, I mean, could you share your journey about how you became a CTO, like your journey from becoming from a developer to becoming a CTO at Core, and what motivated your transition into fintech specifically?
Okay. So, interestingly, I actually started with a fintech company in India as a software engineering trainee, right? And I worked in multiple products. Being a trainee, you are not immediately inculcated into a specific team, right? So they keep on hopping you till they find the right. But it was really interesting. Uh, this was, I think, 2008. I'm talking about. I Coding had been my like passion since very beginning. I remember I wrote the first program in Basic. Language is almost extinct.
That
That
must have been like late 90s or something, right?
uh, yes, around I think 97 or 98, maybe 99. I don't remember exactly when, but and interestingly, so I made an income tax calculator for my teachers at school. Right, I was learning Basic by my own. Because I was still in eighth class, and usually the computer periods were like all about mouses and windows and this and that. But like so interested, so I was in the library reference section, and I was like behind my computer teacher at school. Sir, no, I want to do it, and he was quite encouraging, I say. And that was the first point of interest when I means before that I thought I will become an astronaut, but then everything changed. I wanted to be a developer and means a hardcore one. So that was, I think, the triggering point. And from that time onwards, I was always looking for more and more maybe logical solutions, you can say. Coming back, I graduated from Delhi College of Engineering, and I joined this company as a trainee for my internship, and they liked my work so much that I was offered a PPO, pre-placement offer, and I was like, "Hmm, it means it's fintech." Means I didn't know what fintech was back then.
Of
Actually,
course.
but it was like, oh, it's a big company and it's old. It's quite old company in India. So I was like, good. So I started there. From there, the journey has been like really crazy. So I was there. Then I moved to another company. They wanted to build a couple of softwares. So I joined them as a software engineer. I was the first software engineer they hired actually. I built a couple of small system, more calculation based. They were into the steel industry. They used to make this steel rods and stuff, right? They wanted
Okay.
to automate the calculation of everything, the machines and everything, power and this. So they had everything, but they used to do it manually. And like, okay, fine, let's try this also, because everything you can automate is like a software, right? So why not? So I started with very very small after my initial training period. I think this was 2009, no, 2010. We completed, and they liked my work so much that they like permanently hired me. I was there for 6 years. I kind of overhauled all their systems, um, from how they maintained their documents to how they used to do the calculations, send it out to the clients. Quite automations I did. Interestingly, by the end of this period, I was roaming about into the startup circles, in Delhi NCR, and I encountered a couple of people who were doing something really interesting. So they asked me, why don't you join us, as CTO and all that. I'm not sure if I'm the CTO material right now, but yeah, I have good experience in creating a lot many softwares. Not particularly, it was not fiscal software anyways, but yeah. So this was my first experience with actually a B2C industry. Um, so we tried to make the product. The product came out. We did a private beta. We were able to raise small amount of money to continue. But eventually, we couldn't get more business out of it, right? So eventually we stopped. Um, then I took a pause. I had to devote a lot of time during the thing. So I took a pause. I couldn't do pause like more than 3 months. Was like I was irritated. I needed to pause. So back then, I think this was 2012 when this big data was like a boom. Everybody was talking about big data, big data. So
Right.
I started studying. I started updating myself. What is this big data? What are they? What are the what is the world going crazy about? And interestingly, it was very interesting. So I came up with a product of my own, to actually reduce the costs for medicine on paper,
Ah.
and with a just a you know presentation. I don't know. So I was on this because I was in this starter circles. So I was sharing what I'm figuring out or what I'm trying to do and everything. In fact, there were so many people who were interested in something like this, and they wanted to work together. But again, it never came up. It was just an idea, and then it stood there. But I started another thing that was into, you can say, fitness commerce. It was new,
Okay.
something like Zomato for fitness, and and
Cult fit rather, I'd say.
not quite fit. You have Fitterfly right now. I think
Okay.
one of the companies who means we started almost together. So
Okay.
that was it. I was still working on, so I was really interested after big data came into my life. I was like playing around with data. So we started creating a chatbot for fitness. Means now chatbots are like very easy. That time we used socket programming to actually created sessions and had all those things. Plus, you needed to do a lot of NLP, right? Natural language.
Exactly. Yeah. And two things were actually booming up at that time:
At that time.
Node.js and NLP.
So we named the bot Fifi, for fitness freaking something. I don't remember exactly what it was
But
named.
the name is very catchy.
Yeah. And we were, so now the problem was the kind of data that we had on the internet was not very, you can say, in a format which you can train any AI upon. And so we needed actually data that was fresh and that was to the point for customer queries. So what we did was we trained the bot on the data available on internet. That was fine. But then we at the back end we had like experts with us, right? Who used to answer these questions, and we used to retrain the bot from the answers of the live chats. So
Right.
training and then retraining and constantly upgrading our bot. I ran that business for about 2.5 years um, before we expanded a bit. But by the end of third year, we were more into non-tech trading kind of a business, which I had actually no role in. So I was like, okay, means I just need to do something else. So I moved on. Um, I joined a company who was into learning management solutions, and I was there. We were acquired by HR tech company from Gurgaon. I was there for a year, about a year, I guess, and then I was kind of invited to join a podcasting, platform company called Hubhopper. So from here, my journey actually took a turn. Means I joined the LMS as a AVP, but it was still um, working in very different ways. So Hubhopper like actually gave me more understanding. Now it was very mixed business. It was B2D, D2C, direct to customer, and business to business at the same time, and it was really confusing. What we are building, what for whom, right? But eventually, the first thing we realized as a tech problem was our efficiency in streaming audio was not available. We could not handle a certain amount or certain what do you say uh, size of customers or sessions. So I told the founder that you need to give me 3 months and the whole team
Okay.
and the biggest room available. I can't sit on the floor. The floor. You know why? I said I need to create a war room, and every day for the next 3 months we will be at war, and and then we'll talk. He was like, okay, fine. Means I trust you. That was good enough for me as a developer. When somebody says, okay, I trust you, you know what you are trying to do, so perfectly fine. We overhauled all the APIs, put them into um, actually frameworks, structured, um, divided the data, indexed the data because we had data from like so many platforms. Google that time Google Podcast was also there. Google Podcast, Apple, Spotify. You had so much data, and and you had to collate data on daily basis to check new episodes have come and this and that, and do push notifications, tell your customers that something new has come up. So overhauled the whole system in 3 months. Now we were at a stage that from the initial period we were already like able to satisfy 5k of 5x more, but
Okay.
the system was designed in a way that by just tweaking our infra we would be able to scale to 50x immediately.
Neat.
So that
Essentially,
design,
auto scaling and
yes, so that design was like I made sure that we use the design that way from the starting of development itself, and then there was no looking back. Means in the next 2 years, I was there for about 2 years before I moved on. But in the 2 years I was there, I think we streamed over, I think, 20 years of content. If you collate hours, how many hours of content we streamed, in
right.
total, we were like 20 years, like 365 days into
Oh
24
my
hours. So much
goodness.
content we streamed. Um, so so yeah, that was it. Then I was invited. There was this company from Singapore, Rara now, uh, which was into same day deliveries, first mile. So so yeah, means it was. Uh, they had their own algorithms, and again, interesting work. And I'm a bit sucker for, you can say, more complex things and then reducing it to into finer prints, which are now simplified and understandable. Again, we overhauled the whole process, redo everything, still thereby maintaining deliverabilities. And then I was kind of contacted by Core to join them. Core is actually Core started when I started working. It's a 16-year-old company actually, but it was earlier known as AppZone. So it was a big company and had multiple products in its umbrella. Uh, the very interesting part why I was so interested in working in Core was because, man, they build everything from scratch.
Absolutely.
As a country, as a country from Africa, right? Means,
It's a Nigerian company, right?
yeah, it's a Nigerian company, and it was just amazing. Even the switching networks and everything, they had their own. They had a license to do switching. So so what happened was back means like 2 years down the line, in 2022, um, the company raised a fund, and then the investors were wanted to have focus. So AppZone was divided actually in two entities, which are now Core Zone, sister companies. So our licensed business is now in Core Zone, and Core takes care of everything else. I We have four products in Core as of now. Building a new one for developers. It's like a developer marketplace kind of a thing that we are developing. Um, and Interesting. Lot many challenges we are means resolving every day for many customers. What can I say? Means if I start talking about the challenges, the whole stream will go into the challenges.
So essentially, challenges is how you have been shaping your career in a certain sense.
Yes, I take on a challenge. So, when I joined as a AVP in that LMS company, that was my first experience from zero to one. So, if you
Okay,
look at the startup stages, so there is a zero and then there is a one.
absolutely.
But when I joined Rara was already at one. We After I joined, in the next 8 months, we raised 3.25 million, seed round.
Wrong.
So, and we had some problems that we had to tackle before we were there, right? And Rara was my next experience of one to n. And
Okay.
again, Core is something like similar. It's from they are already at one, and we're stretching it out to n now. So
Nice. Essentially, that's how, I mean, that's the way to fast track your career as well, in a certain sense. Find the challenging problem and something that is going to take the sleep of your night away, right?
yeah, definitely.
And
Sleepless
it should
nights.
be dreamy in that sense, like.
Sleepless nights are given if you want to be a tech leader. Means yes, you should be ready for them.
Right. I mean, every tech system nowadays is expected to be 24/7. Banking in itself is implied to be 24/7 because in modern day and age, that everybody is the mobile phones, the banking apps are at your fingertips.
Yes, yes,
So,
true.
so in a when you started to work at Core, like did you find I need to fix this moment at Core? What was your I need to fix this kind of moment?
Oh, so I'll tell you. So we have one particular solution which is very, very interesting. And to be very frank, that solution you might not have seen everywhere, right? And we call it instant card solution. So it's like you are going to the ATM to withdraw money, right? But instead of money, you just go and get your debit card in the next 15 minutes. So that's the solution that we do. Crazy one.
Something that
Every,
takes at least 2 to 3 days in India.
even the ATM, or the dispenser box have been designed by us.
Oh, nice. That's the core DNA of Core in a certain sense.
So
Pun
innovation
intended, I
is the
guess.
core. Innovation is one of our most cherished thing at Core. Means Without innovation, nothing happens. Means every year we plunge ourselves into things that have not been done in fintech. Like last year, so we host a yearly event called Nexus at Qore, sometime in October, and there we display something. We launched like pre-launched virtual banking last year in Nigeria.
Nice.
So and we are using the same console from where the cards comes, so it has a good screen. So we designed a bot, we designed a AI person in the machine, and actually you can use headphones to talk with it. It's a conversational AI.
The chatbot, the Gen AI era has finally
Yes,
reached.
yes. So
That's actually, in my opinion, that's quite fast because, as far as I understand, banking systems tend to adopt technology really slowly because they have a
so
lot of reliability concerns.
so see, that's not true. I'll tell you where they have a lot of restrictions. So every bank will have a core banking system which will maintain everything for them, right? Base
Okay.
transactions, accounts, kind of products they offer, and everything. Now, this system, anywhere in the world, any bank will not just jump onto and say, okay, I want your system. And tomorrow they will go, no, I want your system in third time. No, that is not how it happens. Even in India, the two most bigger vendor, they have their fixed client, and not from now, like from 30 years back, they have, so many clients. Uh, so core banking is a system which generally adoption takes a lot much time. They'll have to, maybe do POCs, see whether it works for you or not. But the other systems that we have, right? They are like more on top of the core banking system, so adoption is pretty much fast. So we call these card vending machines. So I think. Uh, we last year we launched the point 2 version, the one with the chatbot and something. But interestingly, it's a very interesting thing. You go, you put your account number, you validate. If I'm talking about India, then validate your Aadhaar, because your Aadhaar is already linked to your account, right? So
Right,
you
right.
validate you, and the machine has a fingerprinting device. You do verify your fingerprint, which will be validated from Aadhaar, and voila, you get your card. Means
Nice.
that's quick. That's
And
very
it's
quick.
built on top of core banking system, so it kind of works like
Yes,
does
we
not
can integrate with any core
does not
banking
upset
system.
anyone, right? In a certain sense.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. We can integrate like with any core banking system. Means we have done a lot of integrations where they didn't want a core banking system, but they wanted instant card issuing systems.
So, coming to the topic of cross-border payments, so for those who haven't experienced it firsthand, like, can you give a quick rundown on why cross-border payments are still so problematic in 2025?
Okay. So there are a couple of, I think, reasons for that. One is the standard of transfer, or currency that is used as a standard currency of transfer. That's USD, right? So if you
Right.
have to do any transaction, even governments have to do transactions in between themselves. They will convert their local currency into USD, and the transaction will happen in USD, and the country receiving that fund will again convert it into theirs, right? So that's the first big challenge. Only one channel of standardizing everything. And I think the BRICS talks that was happening, where Africa is also playing a good role into a financial sector, having uh, in case that actually happens, right, and we have more currencies that we can actually use for standard transactions. So that will actually pull down the weight on cross-border payments as of now. So
Okay.
first of the challenge is this. Second is, I think, regulatory policies, um, control, of course, right, and and ease of business, of course, if you look how it happens, right?
Abs-
So that's, I think, the second. The third would be more on the tech side of things, right? Since all these things are very highly regulated items, right? Technology has to be very, very in line with all these policies. Now, if you look at global, you know, um, products, let's say you can transfer globally, like Wise or some other products there are. Uh, if you use them in US or Europe, you'll find they are very easy to use. But if you come to India and try to use it, you can't do anything. They are using the same method that you will have to go to a bank and do it. Yes, they have reduced the cost. They are not charging you because they are offering you a service, right? And they want to put their roots in the country, right? So yes, they are not charging you for something, but that does not mean that they will always be doing it. At some
Okay.
point in time, a product needs to earn. It
Right.
can't be offering free service for lifetime, right?
Absolutely.
So I think these are the three main challenges for cross-border commerce.
Right. So, so a lot of our listeners are actually either they are freelancers or they work with freelancers, globally.
Hmm.
So, I mean, what are the hidden costs in these transactions beyond the obvious ones that people see?
See, most obvious ones are markup fees from, means you can't buy the same currency at the same rate. Uh,
Right, right.
so if you are getting say $100,
Hmm.
they might means, and whatever the rate when the market opens in the morning, whatever rate has is going on, you'll get the transfer in that, right? And when you go to buy, you'll have to give a markup fees. Means if I got $100 and I converted it to INR at 82, I'm not able to buy it at 82. I'll have to pay 84, 84 rupees to buy. So that means that 200 rupees extra I have to pay
Okay.
from my pocket just
Right,
because of the transactioning system, right?
right.
Um, then of course markup is one, but then there are like costs, government taxes, depending on the kind of country, maybe VAT, GST, or service taxes and all those things. Um, at times, um, it will also very interesting. I'll tell you is on the level of banks you are transacting with. So if you are working with say a microfinance bank, right,
Okay.
or NBFC, right, their transaction charges might be higher than a normal bank.
Okay.
And the reason is because they themselves need to go to that bank to get that thing done. They are not licensed to do those things, right?
Okay.
So,
So
but
essentially, the regulatory hurdles is what is causing
yes,
them.
so layered transaction system is another hidden cost. That's there on top of it.
It's interesting. That's very interesting, and it. I'm sure then, as soon as you are building a cross-border payment system, these layers is what is going to cause complexities in software. When and what and how, and tracking all the various pieces or
See,
costs.
one of the biggest challenges in any fiscal or financial system is auditing,
Exactly.
and you
Keeping
have to
a
keep
trail.
track of everything, every stage, time stamped, everything, because you don't know when some kind of a challenge comes or audit comes, and then you'll have to dig into the data. And if you don't have the data, means for a bank it can be costing them their licenses. They will never actually you know
Not
go for
have.
a product which does not
Yes.
have full-fledged auditing capabilities.
Exactly. And oh, that's another piece. But so when we are talking about such a deep system with so many auditing capabilities, such a depth of logging, so to speak, um, what is the tech stack, or rather, I would put it like this: like, what is the tech stack behind Core's remittance engines or banking systems?
So we used very vivid. Um, Actually, most of the core's legacy products were built on ASP.NET, C Sharp.
Right.
Um, Recently, Microsoft has also come up with uh, a virtual engine kind of a thing, which is .NET Core, right? You can use it to deploy on Apple or Microsoft or Windows anywhere, right?
Okay.
Now that flexibility they have given now after decades of work. But what I have seen, in core, so we have those legacy systems which we are overhauling. But now when we are overhauling, we are not actually binding ourselves to a particular language or topic. Yes, we use databases that are already well known, established, and stabilized, so that we don't lose our data. Right? We implement disaster recovery and stuffs, architectures which will help us reduce the load on, um, you know, um, writing and reading out of databases and stuff. So we use known databases, probably with better, support systems and stuff. Then comes the next application layer, right? So now we are overhauling some of our products and we are using multiple technologies. Like we are rewriting our whole core into microservices as of now, and each service has a particular part, and so each service is on a different language. So there is C sharp. Most of the security aspects is being handled uh, by on you can say Java, right? The front end is React and Next.js based. C sharp is, as I said, C sharp is there is a particular piece of code or service which does the processing of. So in banking every day there is a branch opening and branch closing. Once
Right.
all branches are closed of a bank, then they have to calculate their interests and everything, right? Late payment fees, this and that. So we call it end of day processing. So every end of day, when every branch has been closed, right? There is a processing engine that will kick in, right? And it will process. It will loans. It will accrue the interest. For other kind of product, it will also accrue the interest. Accounts, saving account, giving you interest, and all those things happen, right? So we have that engine. We are rewriting in Go because it's very procedural in nature. It's like step one, step two, step three, step four. It does not need a lot of you can say object oriented uh, approach to the design of the service. So I think I have always believed, um, for every problem there is a particular tech stack that will solve it the best. as
Right.
developers as developers one, we need to be able to present our thoughts clearly to the people in front, uh,
Right.
so that they understand why you are choosing certain tech stack. Two, I would say always use things that are more stable. So what we are writing in Go can also be written in Python. Since Golang now is become like into an industry standard kind of a thing, so you can easily use it. We used it at Jara. Our algorithms we shifted to Golang. Brilliant work they did, and they were faster.
Right.
They
It
were
will
in
be
Java.
systematically fast because of memory management.
Yeah, they were in Java, and we used to get out of memory errors all the time. Means how much memory can you increase? Right? So we
Right.
did all those things. Then we said no. We'll have to rewrite it in a very different way. And it was the right decision to take, whatever time we took. As I was saying, I think developers need to have two qualities. One, in understanding every problem will have a different solution, and that solution will work brilliantly on a certain tech stack. Second, they need to be able. There are so many brilliant people I have met, but their challenges they are not able to tell what they want to do.
Right.
Right. So what
To be able
happens?
to articulate the problem the right
Yes,
way.
yes. So in Rara, we used to have a saying: if you can't explain it simply to a layman, you don't understand stuff. You don't understand it yourself. So if you
That's
understand the problem, you actually know where the problems are. You'll be able to put it into very simple words. Maybe not technical, right? I'm a technical person. I had to explain our thesis or things to our investors into very layman kind of a language. It's not their people. They understand business. They understand even tech very well, right? But since the times are, you have short time meetings. You don't have like whole day. You are sitting with them and doing the explanation. That's not going to happen. So these two things I think developers need to take care of.
absolutely. And in a way, I mean, so Sudhir also asked, like, what drove your choice of tech stack for Core's financial services, right?
Yeah,
So, in a certain sense, it's all about there's no one point answer. You have to know your problem, the
exactly, exactly.
issue that you are tackling, and then
Tackling.
appropriately choose.
Yes, yes.
So that's great. So a quick question that is raised by Aditya, which I kind of feel is a little interesting.
Hmm.
It's like, is blockchain the future of international payments? I mean, this is a question every developer wants to know the
So
answer to.
in fact, it has already started, my friends. So I told you core and zone. So our sister concern, the new switching system that they have created on blockchain.
Oh, nice.
So it's a blockchain based switching network, already licensed by the Central Bank of Nigeria to work in Nigeria.
So, so how will this work? I mean, you have a switching network which is based on top of blockchain. So why is it important apart from being the centralized ledger perspective?
Okay, so I think one important thing, blockchain provides um for financial services, when the base is on that, right, is um accuracy of transaction.
Okay.
So by design, blockchain gives you assurance that this is there, right? So that is
Essentially, the ledger has not been tampered with.
exactly. So that assurity plus legacy systems are still slow, you know, because they have to do so many things, right into the database, maybe right onto 4 or 5 ledgers, make this, make that. This is pretty much simpler. You do one transaction, it's put into a box, closed, sealed, and send out. Finished. You're done. The
Right.
token you generate is valid enough for this.
For
That's
eternity in a certain
yes.
sense.
So, and you can do the auditing. Auditing is good. You can always cross check from where things were moving where. So yeah,
Okay.
it's I
So,
think
again, what,
more and more actually people are coming with a lot of blockchain based things.
okay. So, a quick side question in that is like, doesn't, and it's more like a question because I don't know much depth about it,
Hmm.
but by employing blockchain, hasn't, like, haven't you already removed the need of auditing in that sense?
See, from a technology perspective, yes. From a regulatory perspective, no. You know,
Okay. So essentially, one has to establish if there are
Mm,
nefarious activities
tomorrow,
on
if say
chain.
in India, one of the banks deploy such a switching network, the RBI will come to me tomorrow and say, "Okay, I want to audit your records. Where are you going to provide the records from?" So, auditing can't see with fintech. I am like pretty much sure we might reach for the moon, but we'll still audit.
It's like how Russians say, trust but verify.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, quick question from Mehek. Like, how do regulations affect growth of fintech?
Actually, by a lot.
How?
Means in any ways. See you. Um,
Or let me. I kind of understand maybe, but let me rephrase this question.
hmm,
Can regulation regulations impact positive growth in fintech, or do you have
Yes,
any anecdotes
definitely.
around it, in recent anecdotes?
Not actually. Means see, it will depend. It will depend on lot many things. Um, there are a lot of unregulated things also, right?
Okay.
There are and at times what happens is you stumble upon that opportunity because there are nothing there is nothing, and then say you build a product around it, right?
Okay.
Go to market, people start accepting it. Now the government knows about it, and now they will do a regulation around it.
Are we talking about blockchain? Sorry, Bitcoin about
So
us?
Bitcoin, yeah, you can put Bitcoin there, but see, Bitcoin is yet not accepted by everybody, right? So,
Right.
so, so it's not exactly that. Means I'm talking about a nominal, maybe say, I build a remitting app, right, which will reduce a lot of cost. Who knows the route I take to ensure that my application is able to deliver the results, say, within the next 4 hours, like a standard
Okay.
SLA. And to do that, I might need to route my transaction from different points in the world
Okay.
to make sure that that thing happens, right?
Right.
Today there might not be any regularity around this, right? But tomorrow, who knows? Some
Exactly.
regulation will come and say, okay, you can't bounce off your transactions to say um, Australia. You need to go say via Singapore. Who I'm just giving you an example. Means it can anything, right? It can be anything, because
Right.
there are international banks also which are in India, right? Um, Outside also it's the same thing. Means it's I think most of the places banking systems are literally same.
Okay. So, um, so if I may ask, like, what is the one regulation that every fintech developer should understand, regardless of where they are located, like whatever their geography is?
Mm, I think fintech developers need to have some idea of accounting systems. Means it's not a regulation; it's like a non-said base game of fintech, right? If you don't understand what is a single entry ledger, what is a dual entry ledgers, means you will never
Okay.
be able to develop systems that are, or even fix, even overhaul. Means anyway help those systems. Um, on the regulation side. I guess it is more topic specific because, say, for remittance, there is a different regulation altogether. For core banking systems, interest, loan products, there is a different kind of regulation. So, regulations will change based on the product you are offering or the software capability you are offering. So, like a core banking system will give loan products, right? It will have recurring deposits, it will have normal deposits, it will have checking accounts. Each
Right.
of them can be governed by a different regulation, and you'll have to make sure that you abide by it. Because if you don't, the bank don't, and if the bank don't, means it's
Yeah, then it's a
problem.
problematic thing. So, so let's talk about a bit about security. Security in financial services. So, what strategies do you employ to prevent fraud without compromising user experience whenever we are talking about cross-border payments?
Mm, so see, there are certain things that you can do and certain things you can't do. I so one is we if I talk about core, we are actually looking around thousands of IPs, throughout the days. And one of the important thing that we have adopted is having point-to-point connections with the branches.
Okay.
So if a transaction needs to come, like, now I'm not talking about mobile right now, right? I'm talking about branch systems and stuff. So we generally maintain a VPN point-to-point connectivity so that nobody can interfere into that. It's much more secured, much more in your control. And I think in terms of financial services, if you are not controlling of your systems, you are in a very deep shit. Anything can go wrong, and man, it will be disastrous, because it's not just you, right? Because we are one of the four frontiers, I can say, who are giving banking as a service solutions.
Okay.
So most of our clients are using cloud services. We are cloud service banking solution provider. So that means we need to be very, very secure. So that is one.
Understood.
Then we have security team dedicatedly, uh, doing VAPTs and all those things. Apart from that, we maintain a blacklist, IP blacklistings, on all those services are already integrated, so that if transaction generating from a certain IP sets which are which we find in our blacklist, we don't let them proceed. They'll generally get errors. When it comes to direct consumer transactions, right? Um, what we generally do is we take in the request and then process it in the blacklist.
Sorry. I.
So it's like you want to do NEFT, right? They will deduct, the bank will deduct your money and take in the request, and then they will have their channels to do that transaction, right? So we do the
Right.
same thing. If I want to transfer, say, from one bank to another bank, right, do the transaction. So for me, it will be like, okay, my money has been deducted. For you, you will not receive like in real time. It will take some time to reach to you, right?
Right. Right.
Um, in Africa, we still don't have like UPI and IMPS kind of systems, right? A bit
Right.
more on the legacy front, but yet they are innovating all this. Every country has a very different regulation. We are supporting Ghana, Kenya, Ethiopia, and a couple of more. So means we have our softwares are complying with multiple countries regulations and whatnot. So what I realized it mostly, I can say 75 to 80% of the banking regulations are almost same. Only 20% will be here and there. And I think as developers, when you are designing softwares, right, or fiscal softwares, you need to make sure that is in your mind, that if I need to change certain tweaking, like I want to change interest, I should not go into the code and do those things. I should be able to do differently. I should be able to write a configuration somewhere, and in real time it should be able to change and all that. Regulated, but on my fingertips.
Right. So, I guess uh, Anga from Indonesia.
Paganga, how are you? He has been a close associate. Well, while I was working in Rara, we were actually together in Rara now.
Nice, nice. So basically, he's just like to point out that he's facing quite a few requests for moving big money between
Hmm.
Indonesia and others. So, interestingly, what are the real challenges when you're talking about large sums of money to move between different
First
countries?
is so the first is the regulators, right? Even if you say I want to transfer 10 lakh dollars, that's $1 million, right? If I want
Right.
to transfer from $1 million, right? The bank won't transfer it day one first, right? Because banks are also limited with the transaction size, depending on the size of the bank, their license and everything. Um, the size, chunkable size will be not that much, right? But then there are bigger banks, the like around the world, who have much more capability, and most of the big banks will always have a tie up with them. So what they will do is they will generally do an internal transfer, which is already, legalized, regularized, and everything. And that bigger bank who has bigger validity, or bigger chunk size, will do that transaction further.
Okay.
So it's about channels. We call these things channels, transaction channels. From
All
where
right.
to where it goes. So you need to route the transactions out. Eventually, for my customer, it will be just okay, $1 million transfer. That's fine, right? But how it is done, it's a very interesting story.
A lot of financial engineering is also involved in there, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Okay, so coming to technical innovations, which technical or what technical innovations do you think will have the biggest impact on international payments in the coming, say, 5 years? Is there a
Mm,
big
so um, I think. It's a bit difficult to say how it will play out, because uh, uh, so we need to understand these everything plays on two different levels, right? One is a country level, right, and the other is an international level, right? If you want more international companies to come and invest in your country, right, you'll have to provide them ease of doing
doing
business,
business
right?
transactions, right?
You need to provide them uh, ease of taking their money out also. You can't expect them to just keep dumping money in your country and not take back, right? They will
Right,
eventually
right.
want it back, right? They are investing in you, right? So when the investment grow, they'll take a considerable growth chunk. uh, so regular I think regulations are being updated, like every year, right? Depending on what's the scenario in the world. It is uh, so I was saying, like, it's a bit hard to say how it will play out in the next 5 years. Means, yeah, definitely, blockchain is going to be one of the biggest things. Gen AI will be also one of the other things that will be uh, very very interesting. Now, I also want to say, a lot of people thinks these technologies are actually taking out the livelihood of people, but that's not the case. They are improving.
That's
As a technology, they will only improve your life if you know how to use them right.
correct.
um, it's a fall phobia that now you have AI chatbots and this and that, so they can code, and so you are not required. It will always require a human to actually put things into perspective.
So, in a way, what I say is that the jobs are not going anywhere, only the job descriptions are changing.
Yes, you have to be good in writing a prompt.
So yeah. So, in the same spirit, what would you tell a developer starting out in fintech today? Like, should you do it? Should you not do it? What should you think about?
I think people who are starting, one of the most important aspects would be learning. See, you might not know a lot of terminology right now. You might not know what things are, but as I said, there are some basics. You cover those basics, and you just do a dive. The
Absolutely.
best way to learn is dive into the systems. And I'm not sure, means I learned with a lot of bug fixing in my first year of job.
Right.
I means any bug. I used to code Java in Java back then, but any bug that would come, they would just say, "What are you doing?" I'm like, doing this. Can you just not do it for one day? Fix the bug. And because they knew if even I have to stay like 2 hours, 3 hours extra, right? I'll fix the bug and go. I learned a lot actually fixing bugs about the system because you know, and it's a human problem. You can only define so many use cases,
Right.
right? There will always maybe one in a thousand, one in a 10,000, one in a million case that will come up, and your system is incapable of. So I would say don't get bothered about those things. Get into the system, open it up, read it out, understand how it works. It will give you uh, uh, an experience which is different from most of the people that they don't do. So the best way
Right.
of having, it's a growth hack. If you know systems, that's the only way you do. And my learning means I have like taught so many people about it. My old colleagues, they know, they quote me with this. And if you need to understand the system, I take just 15 days. I can understand any system in 15 days. All I need to understand is the data flow, how the input comes, how you means. I don't even tell me how you're processing, how what is the final result, how you push back that data, use that data.
Right.
Uh, then I might look into the black box some again on a high level view, and I'll understand how that system works because eventually what we are trying to do is manipulating data, keeping data, presenting data, and that is all we do.
Okay. Uh, this is another interesting question, I guess. The question is on your screen. It's a
uh,
little tricky for me. So how?
yeah, means Mr. Trump. Uh, he's no,
So
he's playing
this
around with a lot of stuff which will have like large scale impact. That's all I can say. I'm not going to comment on how it is going to play out. It might be just very controversial. So it's just
and
my
I mean
opinion.
it's
It would be just my opinion. So I'll restrict from going that way. But yes, and one of the reasons is uh, he controls the base currency that we all do transactions in, as I said earlier.
right.
So yes,
So in
there
a
is a
way,
global impact, anyways. Means
so as soon as you are changing, like impacting the base currency, everything
yeah, yeah,
gets impacted. So it's a tricky question to answer. I would also agree to. Uh, so so I mean, what would you say that beyond coding skills, the knowledge areas that developers should be focusing on if they want to excel in building financial infrastructure? I get the point.
design,
Uh,
design, design. That's it.
Sorry.
Design. Keep on designing systems. They will fail. They You have to redesign them. They will fail again. They'll redesign them. See, the only point what I want to make here is uh, there are such a finance is such a vast subject, right? You can't cover everything up, right? But as a developer, my only task is to build softwares, and I generally say if I'm a good software engineer, I will be able to build any system. It does not matter if I know what I need to build. It will always matter what information I'm getting, how I can process the information into workable solution, and then give that solution out. So it will be mostly on these lines. So you design, yes, okay. It's like once in a blue moon your design will fail. Mine has failed like multiple times, and I learn from it, right? um,
Absolutely.
we built something. The product I talked about back in 2012, the first version was not even able to, when you opened it full fledged, I think it was not able to handle 100 users.
Okay.
It failed that miserably. I was
Right.
good at tech. I was like, no, I have done a brilliant tech job. It failed. I had to redo the whole product again. Does not matter.
Exactly. At the end of the day, it is a lot about trial and error. Because unless or in other words, learning by doing, like the
Yes.
uh,
And it's not just for fintech. Means it's a very
It's
thing,
a very generalized.
generalized thing for any software developer to do. Uh, Also, you need to, means every developer needs to think about this is, do you want to be a brain of the system, or you want to be the hands of the system? So hands are the people who will work, churn out code by code, line by line, and everything. Brains are who design. So you need to understand what I'm more of a designer. I'm brains of the system, right? It's not that I don't code. I code, and I can code pretty fast. Being creating, we are creating frameworks that we are going to actually, launch open source for other people to use. But mm, that's there.
And you cannot design a system unless and until you have done the grunt work of coding it first.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
So to become the brains, you need to do go through that.
Initially, yes. Initially, everybody has to be the grunt worker, right?
Right.
Doctors, new residents, they are put to stupid jobs all the time. You think about them, you think about yourself. If you are not doing stupid stuff when you are actually learning, right, then you are actually not learning anything. You need to be at a space where whatever they throw at you, you welcome it with like, okay, a challenge. Good. Let me see what I can do about it.
Exactly. So, Vipul, I mean, now the time is running out, and I'm actually enjoying this incredibly insightful conversation with you. But I guess we will have to start wrapping it up. So
Yeah,
before we do that, would you like to share something with our audience, our developers, and technical leaders who are coming on the platform?
yeah. I think.
More like a message that will go out to all the developers out there for their clients.
So, um, means I would just say that, guys, I think you are in the right profession. It's a brilliant profession of being a software developer, right? Um, it has its highs and lows. Usually, everything has. There is nothing that will not have a low, right? But what is, I think, important, as a developer is, um, what legacy do you want to leave? Means that's what I think about, when I join a company, when I'm looking at products, even when I'm designing products. Um, will people remember that, oh, there was somebody named Vipul Meehnia who designed something, something, something? Maybe I have not done that work till now. Maybe I will do, but that's something that I'm chasing, right? So I think that would be my message. Do something that is worth your while, which will um, eventually
Be
people
proud.
will remember. Yeah.
Exactly. So thanks a lot for those words, Vipul, and I'm pretty sure uh, all the viewers who would be coming to watch this, they will definitely get a lot of takeaways.
Yeah.
So thank you all, and thank you for joining us today on DevBytes. For all our listeners who would like to know a bit more about Core, you can reach out to the page of Core or talk to Vipul Meehnia on LinkedIn. Uh,
Yeah, definitely.
we have linked him on the post of this session as well. And if you enjoyed our episode, please subscribe to DevBytes or leave us a review on LinkedIn. It really helps us in figuring out what to do next, what to bring out next. And like what Vipul also said a couple of minutes back, helps us reiterate a little bit better. So until next time, keep coding, keep building the designs for all of you guys, and keep reading content on DevBytes and following us. I'm Romesh, and this has been DevBytes Talk Show.